It's Monday. I hope everyone's enjoyed their weekend. It's the 15th of March. Month left to do your taxes. This is the Between Two Wheels podcast. This is Tyler Janke, episode 227. Should we just skip the what's on today's show? No. Strade Bianche, ParisNice, Tirreno Adriatico, Roglic, Pogacar, Wout, Matthew Van Der Poel, crashes. Everything is going on. We got the ride of the week. We've got NorCal cycling starting, and Tyler, is he petty? All those that raise your hands for that say Tyler is petty. I see some of you out there said, I think I said pretty. I said petty, and we'll start right there to begin with. First of all, I hope you enjoyed episode 226. We interviewed NorCal team California rider Drake Deuel. He had that amazing ride up to Haleakala, took the KOM. We got some really good feedback from that. Mike Woods retweeted us. So did Doug Ryder, which is he used to be with Quebec. I think he still is with Quebeca because Curt Carlson had tagged him in there in his tweet. Curt Carlson, the manager of the NorCal cycling team, Team California, had done that. So anyway, some good people. I hope you enjoyed that. Drake, I really enjoyed having him come on. Phenomenal new talent, and we will watch him progress. Some people had some comments about, when like, hey, when you ask him, you should ask him some more about bumping elbows and crits and stuff. I just think he went from a 5 to a 2, I think, in 1 year. He's so new. He's got an amazing engine. I'm not sure that Drake actually knows what he's capable of, and that's why I brought the question up about changes the pace on climbing. And I don't know that he's done a lot of that. It's going to be great to see him try to unfold and see what he's got in the tank for the next few years. Once we have racing progressing and starting back up, he'll get a chance to do that. And I hope we'll have a chance to see his, the phenom that he possibly is here in NorCal, if not on the race calendar. All right. So why is Tyler petty? Well, okay, I mentioned a few times I did this Drake Deuel interview. Look, let's take a step back. There's this in Northern California. We have the Northern California Cycling and Nevada Cycling Association, NCNCA, and there's a Facebook page, and there's some issues about who's running that. There was editing going on, people being censored there. So some people decided to, at least this was my understanding, I could be wrong on this. People decided to make some changes, and they started their own group Facebook page called the Feed Zone. I was asked to be part of that. When I post on there, called the founding member. I don't know what that means, but I thought this was a group page of kind of stuff. Well, so this was the idea. Hey, we're not going to be censored, but we're not going to have politics involved. And let's just read a little bit about this page here. The mission of the Feed Zone public group page is to provide essential information to give racers in Northern California the power to build our racing community, bringing our sport closer together, providing a resource to stay connected as a family of racers, to share and express what matters to us with the sport we love. I would like to thank all those who joined the page. My goal is to make it a one-stop resource for NorCal road racing and cyclocross when the season begins. Reach out to your SoCal. This could be their resource. Okay, so basically we post things about races, photos, results, favorite rides, team and club info, bikes, underground and grassroots racing rides, race videos, photographer links, anything that may come to mind down the road that has to do with road and cyclocross racing in Northern California. Throwback Thursday posts. Friendly reminder not to have political posts or comments, political opinions on the site. There is. I will delete the comment. Okay, whatever. So I usually post stuff to this page specifically that has to do with NorCal, as the rules dictate. Mark Tucker's been on there. I've done some interviews with him, and we posted it to the site. Had Jason Saltzman, who, if you really think about it, maybe it might not have been NorCal related. There is Jason, used to race in NorCal. He's moved to Southern California. He rides for Wildlife Generation, and it's no longer NorCal. It's not a NorCal team. So we posted that there. I bring all this up because I posted this last episode with the Drake Deuel. Basically, Drake is living in SoCal, Jason Saltzman like, and he's racing for a team in NorCal, Team California. The team is NorCal. The director, Curt Carlson, is a NorCal stalwart. We've been discussing him winning Pesquenta and a few other things. He rode for Jelly Belly. Drake is hanging out in Hawaii and staying with Mason Marlowe, a NorCal person who supports the team, and NorCal riders that go over there. Kevin Metcalf is in the top 20 of the Haleakala. I just thought it was a, first of all, he rides for a NorCal team, so I posted it there. Either way, I get a message from the person that runs the page. He said, "Hi, Tyler. I appreciate the video you posted on the feed zone just recently, but I don't think it's relevant to what I'm trying to accomplish with this group page. I'm really wanting to focus to be on NorCal and its racers and races and anything that apply to road racing in NorCal. I want this group to be more focused on those areas. I will delete it, for it really doesn't apply to the purpose of this page. Thanks, Tyler." So I said, "I gotcha." And then I just said, "Hey, he rides for a NorCal team. His team director is NorCal stalwart." I got no reply. So he removed the page. So I, as the petty person I am, I just removed myself from that page. I don't need this kind of stuff. I mean, this is just, I'm trying to avoid hypocrisy in my life. You look on the posts, even this guy has, there's races about UAE, there's races about all of the kind of stuff. So, I think I do, and this isn't about me, but I think I really do try to push the sport, and especially NorCal, but I do everywhere, right? So but I do interviews of all these kind of races. I bring on Mark Tucker, Sean Bagley, Saltzman. I mean, go to races and I try to interview these people. We just did one with Larry Nolan, and doing, I just reposted it. So I think I try on that. And there was no reply. If he would have given me a reply as to, "Hey, I never actually watched the video. I didn't realize this kid that Team California is a Northern California team for many years," those kind of thing, then maybe I wouldn't have been so petty about this. But as it is, I just said, F it. I'm leaving the team. I'm leaving that page. If you guys want to post on the Facebook page of Between Two Wheels, feel fine. I'm not going to delete anything in there unless you go after my family. Even then, depends on which ones. But go ahead and post away on there. You can bring up anything. Or it sounds like to me the NCNCA page is still the one to do. All right, let's go to the next issue, which is Strade Bianche. Strade Bianche, a week ago now, Sunday. It was procured to be. We had Rob Dalto on here from Tour Breakaway Cycling podcast, and he had picked Wout. I had gone with Roman Bardet, which wasn't. It was just kind of like hey, he's done well there, and there's no reason. Once I started thinking about it, I was like, that was really bad. Roman hasn't even showed that he's got anything. Maybe a better pick would have been something like Pidcock or something like that. Egan Bernal, someone who's actually shown a little, whatever. There is a group of like 7 or 8 away in this race with 20, 30K to go. Quinn Simmons is up there. He's pounding it, looking really good. He ends up flatting out of that group. He gets a change, catches up to the next group with Fulsang and a few others behind. He starts powering on that group and goes around a corner, slides out, goes into a ditch. I don't know if another rider took him out, but he crashes out. But he was looking really good, and it was some things to come. You're like, hey, Quinn Simmons, I think this could be a race for you coming down few years, and it'll be kind of interesting to see him actually stay in a group and not crash out or flat out, and see how that can play itself up. Either way, probably everyone knows Mathieu van der Poel gets away with Julien Alaphilippe, Egan Bernal. They drop Wout. Pidcock, Michael Gogol was in there. Pogacar was in that group. And I mean, it was everybody. It was including when Quinn Simmons was up there. You've got world champs, former world champs, GC winners. It was a ridiculous amount of talent in that group. Great to see, fettering from sprinter types all the way down to GC little climber types. As it turned out, though, Mathieu van der Poel was ridiculous. Put on some power. You can check it out. There's been a bunch of news stories about the amount of power that he actually exhibited in his racing. You can see him here if you're watching YouTube. Picture from steep hill of him. It's kind of the symbolic picture of him now dropping Alaphilippe up the final climb and just putting down the power. The wattage, I guess, was immense. So you got Mathieu van der Poel with the win, 5 seconds over Julien Alaphilippe, 20 on Bernal. Wout comes in fourth at 51 seconds. Pidcock, 54 seconds. Gogol, 54. And Pogacar, 54. Quinn Simmons, like I said, was in that chase group. Fulsang was about there as well. But it was really good to see. Once again, another great, fantastic duel between Wout, Mathieu van der Poel. He finally gets his win at the Strade Bianche. He didn't do so well, Mathieu van der Poel, there last year. I think Alaphilippe had some trouble with flats as well. Okay. Then we have a few stage races. We start with ParisNice. Then the midweek, we start in with Tirreno Adriatico. And with those, you're going to see some crazy stuff happening, some crashing. I mean, I heard Horner talking about he always would try to do, at least if they had climbs, Tirreno Adriatico, because the roads were wider, a little better. Yet this morning we see Simon Carr, I think that's his name, of EF, hit a barrier in the middle of the road and gets flipped up and hits a sign. And as Chris Flower said, he goes, well, but the GCI was checking his sock length when he was on the ground. Yeah, because those are the things that they worry about. But you had stage one, you had Richie Port crashes out. Bennett gets the win there. This is at ParisNice. DeMar, Pedersen, Philipsen round out the top four in that case. Then the next stage, you had stage two, Cease Bowles of DSM winning over Pedersen and Michael Matthews of Bike Exchange. Some time bonuses went into effect, and Matthews gets the overall for the GC lead going into stage three, which they have a time trial. Bessiger for EF, you saw him close in UAE. He gets the win finally over Cavagna, Roglic, and McNulty. Brandon McNulty looking good. He ends up crashing out later. That's kind of the story of this race. Take the lead, crash out. You had some mountains. EF Bessinger can't hold on the next day on stage four. Theo Gegenhardt crashes and drops out. Roglic takes time bonus, 3K to go, and just continues on going. And next thing you know, he gets a stage win. Roglic, first win at ParisNice ahead of Schachmann, Gian Martin. You had Brandon McNulty down there in 14th. You American Matteo Jorgensen in 16th, and another American Nilson Palace in 32nd. All three of them kind of showing their prowess in this race. So Roglic goes into the lead. Schachmann's in second. McNulty looking good in third. But like I said, spoiler, he ends up crashing out. So you didn't have anything. What you ended up seeing on this stage as well is Cavagna of Duquoin Quickstep goes up the road. I think it was with Leon Sanchez. And there's a climb to the finish. And as they're hitting that climb, Cavagna, just his gears lock up and he can't go. He pulls up the side of the road. There's a word, he thinks it's a battery on his DI2 stuff. Then the team comes out later and says, actually it went into crash mode and he wasn't able to change this. He hadn't crashed. So Chris Flower, once again, to quote him here, he basically is like, I wonder if there's a Lefevre just pulling out, stupid excuses that you can blame something else like DI2, the Shimano, rather than his maybe his mechanics for not having batteries that were charged up. I don't know. Either way, Cavagna wouldn't have made it to the finish, but it's a little bit something to keep in mind when a GC rider has trouble and either has to pull out due to a mechanical that's something you might want to make sure it doesn't happen to you. Stage 5, it's another sprint stage. Sam Bennett gets the win over Bahani and Ackerman. Martin for Jumbo was in a crash, broke his elbow. Roglic crashes. Martin had to go to the hospital, though. Roglic was okay. I think this was maybe the stage also that George Bennett, the New Zealand champion who looks like he rides for Quebec now, the way that kit looks, he also went down. He hit a post in the road. There's got a few of these there, and he was dazed. Martin, they said they wanted to give him the concussion protocol. He said, no, I broke my elbow. I'm just leaving. George Bennett, they didn't give him the concussion protocol, and he looked dazed. He got back on his bike. I must say the next few days he was riding unconscious in a good way. So if he obviously recovered from that, but once again, I think they checked his sock length while he was down on the ground as well. Interesting that the UCI gets worried about super tuck, hands over the bars when you're going solo, and yet the road conditions are still kind of abysmal. I mean, you can't help it with the traffic furniture, but if you're going to put a race down there, you've just got to have flagmen. I mean, they were going through like a back alley. It looked with shopping carts in the middle of the road. It did not look good. Stage 6 was Friday. You ended up seeing Roglic once again taking it on and getting the stage win over Christophe Laporte and Michael Matthews. It was a bit of a finish where it was depleted. You had some sprinters, you had some non-sprinters, but Roglic just does his thing. And when he wants to kick, he kicks and he wins. This is the stage that McNulty crashes out. So therefore it changes the overall. You get Roglic in first, Schachmann, Izagiri, Vlasov in fourth. Stage 7 was Saturday. And you're looking at this. It's got another climb. Roglic takes off. This is the one that starts to have a little bit of people talk about karma. And so there's a discussion here because Roglic with like 3K to go, there's a few riders up the road. He kind of hits out. Some riders go with him. He sits up. about 300 meters to go to the line. Gino Mader of Bahrain Victorious is still up the road, and Roglic decides to hit it again, blows past this guy right, inside 50 meters, comes around, posts up, gets the win. And so he gets the win, Gino Mader in second, and Schachmann in third. But people are saying, was this really necessary for you to take this win from this kid who might not, get another chance? This is a chance of a lifetime. And this is your third win of an 8-stage race. Is this even necessary? Gino Mader himself and some other riders were saying, well, look, especially teammates of Roglic chimed in and said, we're working our ass off for this guy. Why we don't do that so that he gives gifts to people. That's ridiculous. And that was my first thought too, is as a teammate, you guys sacrifice, let's get the win. That's 3 stage wins for you in this race. You don't know, maybe you're going to crash out the next day and not win the overall. So you always, go for what you have. Now, people are there's 2 other cons to doing this that I heard. Others are just like, oh, it's just not nice. It's the namby-pamby type, which is like, oh, it's not nice. This poor kid was out there. Well, even Gino Mader himself was like, yeah, well, I wouldn't do that too. Oh, it was interesting. One of the Jumbo guys is like, people don't gift me the time trial when I have the lead, for halfway through. And I was like, yeah, it's a good point. However, the other con argument was actually Chris Horner, which, damn, that guy being prescient and knowing kind of what's going to happen in the future. He comes out and says, no, you play the long game. As a person, you've got enough wins. You don't need that. And what you do is you then build morale for other people. Maybe you never know when you're going to need a teammate in Bahrain Victorious. You never know when you're going to need help. You're going to have goodwill with other people. And I think Roglic has that. But also, you saw the next day when issues came down, with teams were more than willing to hit the front when he was in trouble. So that's the thought. Now, otherwise, I was like, no, you always take the win. But Chris Horner made me think about it just a little bit. So you have Sunday, stage 8, and there's some climbing. It's a circuit race similar to what was happening the same day out there in Tirreno, and you end up getting Roglic on the descent. He crashes pretty hard. The rumor is now that he actually separated his shoulder, dislocated his shoulder. I think he put it back in, so he's all ripped up on his left side. They do a circuit. They're going to come down the same hill for the last 30K or so. He goes down again, and this time he couldn't get his chain on. His team comes back to help. As this is happening, Bora hits the front. There's Astana hits the front, and they just drill it, and it's like this winding kind of up, little bit of a uphill in the valley before they hit the climb again. And Roglic is screwed. He's trying to catch up. He's got George Bennett back there. He's got a few other, I think, Kreuzwick, and they're trying to get him. They get him very close to it. They pull off, and then he has Nasser Bahani, and they can't close this last gap, and it's not closing. And next thing you know, his gap is going 20 seconds, 40 seconds, and then they start hit the climb. It's 20K out or so, and it's got 2 pitches in that. And by the finish, he's 3 minutes back. He goes from first place of over 50 seconds going into the stage to getting a 15th overall, 2:16 back and 3 something on the stage. As the stage wound down, it kind of got narrowed down, but there was enough guys in there for a little bit of a sprint. And EF's Magnus Curt Nielsen gets the win over Laporte and Latour of Cofidis and Total Direct Energy, respectively. Schachmann defends his shortened race from ParisNice last year. Vlasov in second, 19 seconds. Izagirre third. Hamilton, Bike Exchange in 41 seconds. Tish Benoot, Guillaume Martin, Jack Haig, and Matteo Jorgensen of the U.S. from Team Movistar, 129 back, and Roglic at 2:16. Okay, so let's talk about that real quick. Roglic crashes twice when he comes across the finish line. He comes over, finds Schachmann, gives a fist bump, and as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, that was really classy, because you can see Schachmann's watching Roglic go by, and it's and in matter of fact, in the press conference, Schachmann's very much on the defensive without being pushed there. He's like, well, this isn't the way I want to win, but I got a mechanical early and no one waited for me. So, I don't really want to win this way, but we rode hard and this bike racing. And so you can tell in his mind, he's kind of like, I just wish it didn't happen this way. Well, you didn't have to have it happen that way. You could have not put the gas on and then tried to drop him on the climb, or not allow him to necessarily get back and then put it, but you guys kept it on. So it happened this way, and you were part of it. And I think that's bike racing. I mean, you take the day before and you say no gifts, and you come back the next day and you're like, look, dude, you've already wrecked once and we waited for you. You're doing it again and we're waiting for you. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. But then you say it right out. Yeah, he went down. He couldn't keep upright. So we put the hammer down. I don't know what the problem is. Acting a little sheepish on it. I get it because you feel a little weird about it. And if you feel a little weird about it, then maybe you shouldn't have done that. But I think it was perfectly fine to do. And I'm a Roglic fan. But with that said, Roglic has won enough. He'll come back. He'll be fine. He obviously had some injuries and maybe needs to work on why he's falling in corners, going down hills. He did get some help from Buhani. He got some help from Victor Kampenaerts as well. He being Roglic trying to come back, and it's exactly kind of the situation you saw. Now Buhani rides for Bahrain Victorious, the team that just yesterday, he went and did okay. So interesting there. Or is he with Arkea Samsic? It's hard to tell with his jersey. I should probably check that out. Astana and Bora, like I said, they drilled it, especially at the second thing. Is this bike racing or is this karma? I think it's consistent with stage 7 and 8. At least if you say, oh, he should have gifted him the day before. Oh, and then this karma the second day. I don't think those match. And maybe you can post that on the Feed Zone news page there. Your inconsistencies. So I think Schachmann won. Is perfectly fine. Roglic, maybe work on your descending. Maybe that team needs to, readjust. I think if you had Martin there that had crashed out, that may have made a difference to getting him back in there. They just didn't really have that big punch. Plus, your team split. You don't even have Sepp at this race or Tirreno Adriatico. You don't have Wout there. It's not the best overall team if you're going to go in and support Roglic. But remember, he's had trouble with this in the Giro 2019. Team is taking a piss on the side of the road. He has a mechanical. Now he has to chase back up. We've seen this a few times with him. We've also seen him having trouble in France on the last day. Feel bad for him. Not the way you want to see him go down. And what was most interesting to me is in this last, 15K or so, when he's hitting these climbs and the field has been shredded. So he's going past Bora riders, he's going past Astana riders, and he's shredded up both sides of his back. You wonder what they think of, like, did I do the right thing? Was I being fair play in putting the hammer down? This guy is shredded up and he's still pushing to the finish. I give him a lot of credit, and I don't know. We'll see how that works out. Let me know how you feel about that. I don't really have complaints either way. I think he did the right thing the day before. Chris Horner brings out a different reason why he shouldn't. Not that you just gift things, but hey, you're playing the long game. And then is that kind of replacement to what happened there on stage 8? I don't know. Congrats to Max Schachmann. If you want to check out, we did an interview with him at Tour of California. Very nice guy. No blaming him. Ride as you will. Tirreno Adriatico, we start out there. Stage 1, Wout van Aert comes off of his disappointment the week before at Strade Bianche, and with 4th place, get the stage win over Caleb Ewing and Fernando Gaviria. Later on, we see Caleb Ewing isn't in the mix because he has some stomach problems. As the announcer was saying on GCN, he's like, look, you can fuel yourself as much as you want. You can control that. You can't control if it's coming out and you've got a problem. And that's why he quit. Caleb Ewing, that is. Hope he feels better. Fernando Gaviria is in there. He didn't see much from him later on. Peter Sagan's in this race. I guess he's recovering from COVID. We're not really seeing much going on from him. Anyway, stage 2, we got a little bit of a climb. Julian Alaphilippe. Look, in that stage going up to the finish, he actually had a few climbs right before the finish there. It's like 20 or so K out. Quinn Simmons, you see him right up the front mixing it in. I was like, hey, pretty cool. Nice to see him putting his nose in the front there. But you saw Julian Alaphilippe take the win over Matthew van der Poel, Wout van Aert, and Pogacar. But up that climb, you had seen Simon Yates of Bike Exchange. He was up the break, and you're like, oh, I could see this happening. He looks pretty good. And all of a sudden, boom, he comes off the guys he was with, straight through the field, out the back. No clue as to what happened because he looked really good a few days later. Stage 3, reduced field, a little uphill gradient towards the finish. Matthew van der Poel comes flying across the line, does a post where he's got his arms folded around his chest, and then posts up over Wout van Aert, Ballerini, and Higuita. Higuita is how you pronounce that. We'll do that later on here. Someone sent me pronunciation. The pronunciation police sent in saying him. It's not Higuita, it's Higuita. And I'm like, look, I can, no offense, I can barely pronounce Americans' names. Okay, so give me a Colombian, I'm toast. Greg Van Avermaet was 5th in that race, so you can kind of see that Higuita, as an example, he gets in a mixed group. He's got a kick. Impressed with him. but because look, he's right behind Ballerini and ahead of Greg Van Avermaet with these sprinters. Pretty impressive. So you can see it was a reduced field type of thing. Wout's in the lead, Van der Poel's in second, Julian Alaphilippe's in third, Mikel Landa is fourth, Pogacar, fifth place on GC. Going into stage 4, Pogacar decides to attack around 6K out, and he just kept extending and extending the lead. Then Yates, I don't know, 3 or 4, I don't want to say inside 3, he attacks to go try to bridge up to him and almost gets him. I think it was 6 or 10 seconds, 6 seconds, I think, at the finish with some time bonuses. So it was very close, almost doing what happens the very next day. So you get Pogacar in the win. In GC, Van Aert goes to second. Higuita, who was third on the day over Landa and Quintana. And then third on GC for Higuita, and then Landa in fourth place. Nairo Quintana, hey, he's up there on the climb. Good to see. And then boom, next day he disappears. Pogacar, like I said, he tacked from like 6K out. Mathieu van der Poel, he had seen winning stages 1 and 3. No, not 1 and 3. He won stage 3. Wout won stage 1. He lost 20 minutes on that climb that day. So he pops right out of the GC. Sunday. So I start off, I'm watching ParisNice first. I see that unfold. No, I take that back. I watched Tirreno first, and it's a circuit race, and I'm flipping back and forth between the two. By the way, if you're watching them on GCN, they're geo-restricted. Get yourself a VPN. It's not a problem. Set it to the UK, set it to Canada. You'll get those races, no problem. However, I'm watching Tirreno. It's got some loops in it, and Mathieu van der Poel takes off with 52K to go. Now, probably everyone's read about this. He said he did so because he was cold. Okay, put on a jacket, buddy. But it was phenomenal to watch. I tune in, I don't know, 20 or so K to go. He's got almost 3 minutes up the field. He is looking phenomenal. This road, by the way, it's steep pitches, punchy stuff, some downhills, and it's wet and cold, and he's looking good, and he's just hammering it out. Next thing you know, about 16K to go. Pogacar, hey, Van der Poel's up the road with, he's 20 minutes behind. I better make sure this doesn't happen because he's got a 3-minute lead. He starts to, Wout's on the front. Pogacar starts to accelerate. Wout can't go, and now it's just shattered. Okay. Now you've got, there's a few guys straggling in between. Feline's out there. I don't know who else. But the point is, Pogacar starts to go after, and it's like 16 or so K to go, starts to go after Mathieu van der Poel, who's in like 250 or so up on him. That gap starts coming down. They do like another circuit. They're coming into the last one. Now it's like a minute 20. Then it's like a minute. You're watching Van der Poel just shove food, gels, everything he can down his gullet. He's drinking a bunch. He's not taking on a jacket or anything like that. And behind, Wout can't quite bring in Pogacar. It's like 20 seconds, like 40 seconds, close to a minute. Okay. In the end, they have a kick up to the finish. It is down to like nothing for the two. Van der Poel, Van der Poel barely holding on, like 10, 20 seconds, even inside that, I think it was 6 maybe, to Mathieu van der Poel. I could probably look that up. That'd probably be the best thing to do, is say, hey, how close was it? Pogacar, 10 seconds behind Van der Poel on the stage. I mean, yeah, that, and he had Wout van Aert 49 seconds back, so he closed that down a little bit. Fabio Fellini for Astana, minute 26. Bernal, 2:07. Tim Wellens at 2:07. 2:18, sorry. Demarche, he was up the road as well. Demarche was. Landa, everything. And I think Higuita just blew out and lost like 20 minutes as well. So it really changed the overall. But what was most impressive of many impressive things is, one, to see Mathieu van der Poel come across the line. He can't even post up. He said did I make history? Because it felt like it. It was so dramatic. Barely comes across the line. He collapses. He's like just in a world of hurt. He said he could barely do 200 watts. I'd question that. But it was impressive for a few things. He is a guy that you don't see that. We just talked about his amazing power at Strade Bianche. Suddenly becomes inhuman with this 52K escape. Yet in the last, 5, 6K, you can see him just suffering like a dog. And you start pulling for him. He's this wonderkin. Yet you're pulling for him, and he suddenly turns into an underdog. Then you see Pogacar. drilling it out there, almost got caught the day before. Now he's trying to do the same thing. And you're like, oh, this is amazing to watch him too. Wout, who you can't see, look, Wout, they're trying to talk to about him being this GC contender. Well, he's got to get through here at Tirreno Adriatico, and you're running into the Tour de France defending champion. So good luck there. But you're putting up a mighty good struggle and contest here, at least. So it's like underdogs that these dramatic, figures kind of turn into underdogs in the same day. It's great to see. We saw that at ParisNice with Roglic as well, where he's undefeatable, yet now he gets in a bad situation and he fights to the finish. And this is what makes you really enjoy these kings of the cycling and these amazing champions that they are. When you see them fighting, you see them suddenly become human in a sense, in a human activity. And congrats to everybody. Today's stage at Tirreno Adriatico, we had Mad Wirtz Schmidt win over Brent Van Moor. This is a breakaway of about 6 or so that ended up staying away. The chase group just did not look like they wanted to do anything about it. The field comes in with Tim Miller of Alpecin Phoenix. He's won a few different races this year. Did he win Brussels Kern? I'm trying to remember. Omloop? No, he didn't win Omloop. He might have won KBK the day after. Anyway, his teammate of because I think that's the one where Van der Poel came across with his handlebars broken. He had done the lead out for him. So his teammate can sprint pretty good. He wins the field sprint here. So tomorrow we have like it's either 10.1 or 11.1 flat time trial. Is Ghana going to come out on top? Most likely he will. All right. We have a U.S. moratorium has basically U.S. has basically a moratorium on bike racing right now, but we are actually going to have a race. We hope Velo Kings Racing, which is our buddy Mark Tucker. His team has put it on, and it's going to be in Chowchilla. It's going to be the 3rd of April. Check it out on the NCNCA page. Probably check it out on that other feedbook. What is it? Feed zone page. But anyway, the 2021 Chowchilla criterion, just go to velokings.com and you'll be able to find it there for the race promotion. So look, the decision I have to do is, am I going to do this race? Well, one, I stepped back and didn't even get myself a racing license for the year. Okay, so I need to go and get myself a racing license. Then I've got to figure out if I have time to do this. I've been bitching and complaining about not having any racing going on. So the odds are I need to step up and do this race. I had a wreck a few weeks ago. Took 2 weeks off the bike. Come on, people. But I'm going to do my best to do it. I just have to clear with the family, make sure we don't have anything going on. And then I will likely be at the Chowchilla. I don't even know if there's I think there's supposed to be a Turlock road race, they said, and another one, but I could not find it on the page. So on the NCNCA race page. So I don't even know if it's going to happen. How about our mailbag? Well, we got a bunch of good stuff about Drake Deuel. Check out all the comments. I want to say there's like 20 comments or 10 comments or so on the YouTube page about it. So good stuff there. People were very positive. He's a good kid to have on. Like I said, there's some question about his experience, and I think he's just going to have to fight through that. I remember seeing the great, another one that did Mount Washington hill climb, much like Drake Deuel, was our Tom Danielson had won that. And Tommy D had a lot of talent and potential. He goes over to Europe with Fossa Bortola team, and he has trouble because he's can't get in position. It's like we saw with ParisNice, the roads get a little bit narrower. You're used to just being able to move up like whenever you want in the US. That's not the case there. So we're going to have these kind of questions. Now, his rowing, maybe he's a different kind of mindset and rowing or what have you. Maybe Drake's just like, yeah, I'm just jump right in and not have a problem. So we'll see that. So anyways, it'll be interesting to see how he does. Like I said, Mike Woods tweeted about it, or the interview. Kurt Carlson did, Douglas Ryder. That was pretty cool to see. On the mailbag itself, Alejandro Vergaraga. Come on, dude. Alejandro, we'll just go with that. I'm going to be able to pronounce your name. He did give us a little bit of an insight of how you pronounce Iguita, and then we'll try it here. See if you can hear this.
Iguita.
Okay, so I'm not even close. Let's try it again. Iguita.
Iguita.
Thanks, Alejandro. He did say, by the way, what's the soundtrack to your podcast? It definitely sounds like a Maynard band. It does. It's Tool, and it's the song Numa. So hope you enjoy that. Ride of the week. Pogacar, maybe. Or Roglic. Do you even give it to Roglic? I mean, he took 3 stage wins. I want to give it to Van der Poel for his ride yesterday because that was very impressive, him hanging on. Although, man, I was really inspired. I was really inspired by the ride by Roglic. I like that at all. I don't know. Okay, everybody. I think that's really all we're going to have time for today. It's Monday, so get back to work. I think we'll be having some good weather here, hopefully. And if not, hey, get on your bike, do your Zwift riding, get on your stationary rower. I think that's the key to have it. I heard that rowing is the new gateway. There's other people that are doing that. Dan Martin, not the Dan Martin, but Israel Startup Nation. By the way, that's Israel Startup Nation won today. Wirtz. But Dan Martin, local rider for Pete's, evidently he was a rower. So there's that gateway. MMA riders, fighters are coming into the world. Someone just took a bunch of KLMs from Brian Zimny and then started to mock him online. I don't know why you have to mock him online, mock him to his face, but sorry, Zimny. It's just the way things go. Okay, everybody, episode 227. We'll do another interview coming up. Someone maybe NorCal related. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Depends which page you posted on. Take care, everybody.